I'd say debris flows are definitely one of our biggest concerns. I think we will see some increased flooding.
The rain returns and the threat of erosion and landslides grows in the Eagle Creek burn area. Hello everyone, I'm Brenda Braxton. Just moments ago, we got access to the Eagle Creek trailhead for the first time since the fire started. KGW's Tim Gordon is there live this afternoon. So Tim, tell us, how does it look?
Well, Brenda, we backed out from the trailhead to the outer parking lot by the fish hatchery, but it looks a lot like this, just a little ways in there. You can see what it's done to the hillside, the fire really scraping it off here. And you can also see from here a little bit of smoke. We've learned we'll most likely be seeing that sort of thing for many weeks to come. As we drove in from this location, you can see the green and the burn, the mosaic of the fire right up the canyon wall from Eagle Creek. We stopped to see the suspension bridge over the creek twisted and sideways and unusable. Fire crews think a big rock came down and sheared a cable. Up at the trailhead, you can see the fire came right down to the parking area. They saved the kiosk, but you can see the rocks and charred tree trunks and limbs that make the area still unsafe. Crews are now assessing the immediate danger of the slopes around the trailhead and other places where people want to be. What they see is a lot of steep and a lot of potential slides and flooding. Just add water.
When the fire burned that off, then we lost that glue, and so we have a lot of rock there just waiting to move downhill, and gravity's taken over, and there's no glue to hold it in place anymore.
As for the fire itself, 46% contained, and don't expect more until nature snuffs it out. It's too unsafe or even impossible to build lines around the entire thing.
It's not worth the exposure, and the fire growth is very minimal, and the values at risk are protected, so we won't go do that. So the fire won't be actually contained until you probably see snow. So you expect to see smoke and flames until November or Christmas.
Well, that's kind of amazing to hear, but don't expect this fire to take off ever again. It will mostly smolder, but it's really going to take snowfall to knock it out completely, and that's just the way it is. That's nature's going to take care of it. We showed you the water down there. We're right along Eagle Creek, and I wish we had time to put this in our story, but just up the creek a ways, we saw the reds where the Chinook salmon are in spawning right now, and actually a fire like this can be good for a creek because a few logs may fall in place. It also brings down gravel into the creek bed from the hillside. So there's a silver lining in that aspect that hopefully the Chinook salmon will be just fine in Eagle Creek for years to come. Brenda, back to you in Portland.
Interesting. Tim, thank you. Well, today Governor Brown is visiting Cascade Locks. She arrived just about an hour ago. She's talking with business owners and community leaders to learn how the state can help them recover. Later, she'll go to Hood River and deliver a message encouraging people to support businesses in the gorge. And if you'd like to help, check out the Portland Night Market. Today, proceeds will benefit a local nonprofit dedicated to protecting the Columbia Gorge. The market is in the Central Eastside Industrial District. It's in an old warehouse on Alder Street. Tonight's event is open to all ages. It runs from 4 to 11 p.m. Well, it definitely is looking gray over the Rose City. This is the view from our Wells Fargo Skycam. I see some raindrops on our camera lens. Rod's off, so we sent Brian Brennan outside. He's got his raincoat on. I hope it's not too wet out there for you.
Well, it's not pouring raining right now, but it is a pretty steady light rain. It adds up. You can see the raindrops on my jacket. I'm sure everyone knew that already, but the producers wanted me on the roof to show you guys. Yes, it is raining. As we look at our Wells Fargo Skycam, we're in the low 60s right now. We'll call it a refreshing change from the warm weather that we've been having. As we look at the satellite and radar, we have been having problems with the satellite and the radar, specifically the radar, showing it looking a little bit more broken up than it actually is. It's a pretty widespread rain right now with the front passing through. It is passing through. As we zoom out, you can see it's kind of heading up into the Cascades or making its way there. So as that front passes through, we're going to be left with more dry and mild weather. And as we look at the day planner, I think our showers are going to become much more scattered, especially towards the later afternoon hours. By evening, I think we got a nice break. It's going to be a dry and pretty mild night. And the weekend does look like there's rain in the forecast, but I think it's going to be more dry than wet for most of Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk more about that coming up in the full forecast. Brenda.
Okay, we'll see you inside. Thank you, Brian. New this noon, a Craigslist scam just ruined an Oregon woman's vacation. Police say this man, Michael McCroby, sold the woman 2 3-day passes to Disneyland for $150. Well, when she got to Anaheim and tried to get into the park, she found out the tickets were stolen. She called police when she got back to Portland. Detectives found McCroby on Craigslist, then sent an undercover officer to buy tickets from him in Southeast Portland, where he was arrested. He now faces multiple charges. Detectives think this happened to more people as well, so if you know anything, call the number on the bottom of your screen. A man facing murder charges for a crime in North Plains will face a judge in just a couple of hours. This is Christopher Stevens. SWAT and U.S. Marshals arrested him in Tualatin yesterday afternoon. He's accused of shooting and killing Michael Arch a week and a half ago. There's also another suspect in this crime, but 38-year-old Chad Pitcher is on the run. Police say he is considered armed and dangerous. Well, frustration is growing in Puerto Rico. Thousands of shipping containers packed with supplies are stuck in port and can't get to people in need. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez is in San Juan to explain the latest challenges.
This morning at San Juan's main port, critically needed supplies and thousands of shipping containers are just sitting there and not getting to people who need them in the wake of Hurricane Maria. A distribution bottleneck stifling relief efforts.
We have not scaled up quick enough.
Russell Honore, the former general who coordinated military relief efforts after Hurricane Katrina, says Maria is a much bigger challenge and the Trump administration isn't doing enough.
We've got to do better than what we're doing now. Otherwise, we won't get this done and more people are going to suffer.
But the White House says there are now enough resources on the ground, including 10,000 federal relief workers and 7,200 troops.
Our message to the incredible people of Puerto Rico is this: the president is behind you.
Overnight, the president tweeting FEMA and first responders are doing a great job in Puerto Rico. Massive food and water delivered. Docks and electric grid dead. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Elaine Duke is flying into Puerto Rico today.
You're satisfied so far with the federal response?
I am very satisfied.
But at the cruise port, we saw mounting frustration. Thousands of evacuees standing in sweltering heat for hours, waiting to board a Royal Caribbean cruise ship headed to Florida. Amy Timpanaro has been trying to get back to New Jersey for days to see her kids.
You literally cannot get off this island. If this ship didn't show up, I wouldn't be home to the middle of October.
Celebrities like music star Pitbull trying to help, sending his private plane to take cancer patients to the mainland. But many sick people here are in dire shape, hospitals themselves in critical condition, waiting for fuel.
Right now, the island is working 100% dependent on power generators. Power generators are not built to last forever.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
The Army is now helping deliver diesel to those hospitals, and a 3-star general has been appointed to oversee the military relief effort. President Trump tweeting this morning that Puerto Rico's governor has said that the federal government has delivered. The president also tweeting that, quote, big decisions will have to be made as to the cost of Puerto Rico's rebuilding. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, San Juan, Puerto Rico.
A benefit concert here in Portland will raise money for Puerto Rico as well. It's at the Crystal Ballroom on October 15th from noon to 5 p.m. Admission is $25, and the money will go to One America Appeal. 5 former presidents originally started it for Hurricane Harvey relief. Now it's expanded to help the victims of Maria.
Yeah, you can't just leave that to the government, as each one can contribute. And for these families, it's going to be, a world difference.
The concert is open to people of all ages. Well, PPS is doing its part to help in the aftermath of Hurricanes Irma and Harvey. Today, the school district's incoming superintendent helped promote a drive at Starbucks in Pioneer Square to get supplies to people in Houston and in Miami. It's called Project Giving Hope.
We really want to help out the students, youth, and families that have been affected by the hurricanes and the storms and the flooding in the Miami and Houston areas. So we're encouraging everyone we can to come out, make a contribution. You can do that at your local Starbucks, you can do that at a non-point community credit union, or you can drop by the school district office. We hope everybody will give generously to help out.
Through tomorrow, the district is collecting school supplies, shoes, socks, and money. All the donations will go to the Houston Independent School District and Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Definitely some scary moments during the morning commute in Mumbai. At least 22 people died in a stampede at a train station. This happened on a footbridge, and it injured at least 32 people. Commuters have often complained that this overpass gets too crowded, and today there were even more people on it as they huddled there trying to get out of the rain. Officials don't know yet what triggered the stampede, but said they are launching a safety review. U.S. officials issued a new warning today: don't travel to Cuba. The State Department says this is a reaction to specific attacks on U.S. diplomats. Some suffered mild brain injuries, some permanent hearing loss. Others reported headaches and dizziness. No one knows what's causing this, but reports speculate it's some kind of sonic attack where workers are subjected to low-frequency sound waves they can't hear. The U.S. is pulling all non-essential personnel out of Cuba, and the embassy in Havana will stop processing visas. Just moments ago, people gathered in Pioneer Square for a protest called Take a Knee. Organizers say this was a peaceful civil protest to show support for NFL players who've taken a knee during the national anthem over the past week.